Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 9 of season 4 of the F123 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back today here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. Of course, if you missed out on yesterday's video from the Monaco Grand Prix, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Of course, the duel in the Formula 1 crown. But, of course, today is actually the first race I'm doing on the new patch inside F123. Of course, Singapore has been updated, and it's one of the only tracks that isn't on our calendar. So I'm going to try and do a quick little video over on my Clips channel as well. Obviously, just sort of showcasing the difference between the old and the new Singapore GP layout. So yeah, definitely go check out that, of course, if you're interested. Daniel Ricciardo has been added to the game as well. Nick de Vries is ousted, but I think that only applies to new saves there. If we have a look on the driver market, I don't think Daniel Ricciardo is available anywhere, if I'm not mistaken. No, it doesn't appear that he is, so that's a little bit of a shame. And to be honest, for me, the big update I'm hoping for is the F2 2023 drivers. But yeah, Barcelona though this weekend, of course. Hopefully we can try and continue on the good run of form we've had in recent races. 27 points back now behind Max Verstappen there, but Lando Norris just 8 points behind myself, 9 points behind Red Bull in the constructors. We need to try and continue winning, and winning a lot and frequently. Let's get into it. Barcelona qualifying. Well, I'm never one for getting ahead of myself in this series, because often if I do, things go badly wrong, but free practice went pretty smoothly here, so I'm hoping we got some good pace as we jump into qualifying here in Barcelona. Of course, if you want to see more Barcelona racing from myself, I should have highlights from WOR up over on my sim racing channel. I think they hopefully went live yesterday, if I've managed to time everything correctly. So yeah, would highly recommend going back and checking that one out. We're getting closer and closer to 10,000 subscribers over there, so it'd be greatly appreciated if you could help me get one step closer, of course. And with the new iRacing season right around the corner as well, looking to try and jump into some more stuff over there. That was very, very close to being a spin at turn 4, but we gathered it up. Yeah, I want to try and make it through Q1 just on the set of the medium compound tyres here. Top times, we could be looking towards 109s by the end of qualifying today. But of course, yeah, this first run is definitely not going to be anywhere near that. As you can see, yeah, turn 9 camps are completely flat out, easy flat, even on the medium compound. Do like to run quite a high downforce concept around here. It seems to suit the car quite nicely, actually, and it doesn't seem to be something the AI are doing. So if we can break free, I mean, we're thinking very much ahead of ourselves, but if we can break free come race day, that would be rather useful. The 7th gear through the final corner, slight blend of throttle on the mediums up towards the line. A 10.4 on mediums. We've just gone fastest. Either that Q1 lap was an absolute worldie and I just didn't realise it, or we are about to have a lot of fun here in Barcelona. We ended up staying fastest only by a 10th or so at the end of Q1, but on a harder stage of tyres, that's quite mental here. There's definitely a few tenths different between the softs and the mediums. I don't think it's the worst track in F1 for it, but as we dive into Q2 then, I mean, yeah, unless the AI, well, can suddenly find a lot more or I go and bottle it, surely now we're in a strong position here for the rest of qualifying. But it's been Sector 2 and Sector 3. We've absolutely come alive so far. I'm going to leave the car in 7th gear through the final corner. That is definitely flat if we get it turned in exactly right. And that's going to be at 110.0. That is immediately fastest once again. And maybe we can do a 109 in Q3. Well, Charles Leclerc and Ferrari ended up going fastest in Q2, so clearly the AI have suddenly remembered how to drive. It was still a 110, but it was like a 110.04. We want a 109, though, as we dive into Q3 here. That was incredibly close to getting the lap invalidated before it had even begun, but Lando Norris only down in P8 after his first run. We'll get 2 chances at this, but surely we can get pole position here today. just everything seems to be clicking at the moment. I've not felt this confident in this car all season long, but rounding our way through the final corner, completely flat out we go. Rubbing over the curb. A 109.4 out of nowhere there. I got no idea what time Verstappen and Tsunoda have done, but that might be pole position wrapped up. My only guess is that the AI have taken the downforce concept completely the wrong direction here, because we are 7/10 clear of Max Verstappen in P2. The AI, of course, will probably find time in this final run, but out of the final corner, we're going to get one more shot of this. Now we can really try and bring the neck out of the thing. How much more time can we find?
And that's just 30 seconds left in the session.
And the answer is none at all. Just tried to go a bit too aggressive in through the next couple of corners. The start of Sector 2, you know, we had to just go all out for it if we wanted to find the time. But as we watch the AI rounding through the final couple of corners, surely this is pole position. Maybe Verstappen or Tsunoda can get a bit closer to me and move themselves with a fighting chance. But here on Saturday, we have been impervious. It is going to be pole position here for the Spanish Grand Prix there, and just how much was it by in the end as Tsunoda falls down the order. Half a second clear of Max Verstappen, the only other driver to get into a 109 over the course of qualifying there. Russell in P3 ahead of Carlos Sainz makes it 4 cars from 4 different teams inside the top 4 there, and I'm sure, yeah, the homeboy will be quite happy with that one. Tsunoda ahead of Leclerc. Lando 1.4 seconds behind me. I got no idea. Must have just been caught up in traffic on both of his laps. But it is pole position then here in Barcelona. Surely with a lead that big, race day Sunday should go our way.
So many eventful races here in Barcelona over the years. Do you remember Max Verstappen's first win on debut for Red Bull here in 2016? 2 years before, we had the dramatic coming together of Hamilton and Rosberg going towards turn 4. There's always a treat in store as we head back to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's an updated track at Catalunya, and the popular opinion in the paddock is that we never wanted the chicane in the first place. That's now been gone, the final corner is much faster, and at 2.9 miles and 14 turns, we await the Spanish Grand Prix. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Sainz, Tsunoda, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Drugovich, Ocon, De Vries, Magnussen, Liam Lawson, Joe, Leclerc, Théo Pourchaire, Stroll, Fittipaldi, Bottas, Doohan, Sargent, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And a warm welcome to Natalie Pinkham, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, they've been avoiding mistakes and have had solid pace, so it's been a good season so far. But whether they can keep that up long term remains to be seen.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
I feel like Mark is going to say that every single race this season, but it is pole position, just our second of the year then here in Barcelona, but never, I think, well, apart from Imola last season where I did get accidentally a very dominant pole position, I've never felt like we've earned a dominant pole position like we did yesterday here in qualifying. But World Championship leader Verstappen alongside me. Albon with some penalties finds himself right at the rear of the field, and it looks like we're going aggressive on the tyres as well. Everyone around me are mediums, so it's going to be a bit like Castellet last season, if you remember. We need to try and run away early on. Right, let's do this thing, though. Spanish Grand Prix, waiting on those 5 red lights. Mighty long hole, but it is lights out, and away we go there. And Verstappen originally reacted quite well, but it's gone nowhere off the launch. Russell immediately up to P2. Tsunoda finding a way down the outside as well, so clearly all the cars behind Verstappen have not had anywhere to go, and as we make our way through turn 1, completely uncontested there. Russell still trying to hang on to P2 there as Verstappen and Tsunoda go side by side a little bit further back. And if you remember, I think it was Max, can't remember which Grand Prix it was, a few races ago that had, oh, it was Baku, wasn't it? Who had over a 2-second lead at the end of lap 1. That's my goal today as we plunge down the hill through turn 4. George Russell, Mercedes, you know, they've had an up and down season so far. You know, had a very, very good race last weekend. But yeah, lacked pace up to that point. Off the Monaco can be a good indicator of pace as you head towards Barcelona. Of course, we always used to view it the other way around there, as it looks like Lando hasn't really made any forward progress either. Drugovich getting himself up and, you know, in the mix as well. You know, wants to try and score more points for McLaren. You know, it just eliminates a freak result for, say, a Williams or a Haas that bumps McLaren down the order. A bit like we saw last year, where obviously they lost out to Alfa Romeo because of that one win that Bottas got back at Suzuka then. But at the end of lap 1, we lead the way there, a second clear of George Russell. You can see heading down the straight, I haven't got particularly competitive speed unless I use the battery. So yeah, we're definitely running a lot of downforce, but early on, we want to run away, as I'm sure Verstappen will try and find a way around George quite quickly. You can already see then, a 1:12.2, quicker than some cars are able to go in qualifying here. Purple in all 3 sectors, as Russell now is probably going to lose the place to Verstappen behind me, but why, that was scary. Still every opportunity here at Barcelona for things to go catastrophically wrong. You can make mistakes, it is still easy to do around this venue. But yeah, Max and George fighting has gifted me about another 1 second at the front of the field. So as we start lap 3, already a 3-second lead. As we plunge back down the hill, this is what we want to see. Looks like Verstappen, though, has broken the distance he needed from George Russell, because I guess that's kind of what his race is completely dependent on, is making sure that he doesn't end up stuck battling with George. The pace of the Red Bull, of course, you can never discount them. Often they've been a bit slower in qualifying and then had the pace come Sunday. You know, Baku was a good example of that. Albert Park, probably the best example of that so far this season, where Verstappen has really just found his groove on a Sunday. So, yeah, that gap not going up anymore. But if we can just hold it, that would be nice. I'm trying to watch the delta as we go through corners like Kampsa and the final 2 turns. Definitely looks like the AI cannot take it flat out where we can. So I think that's how we're gaining a lot of the time around this venue. It's kind of that thing, of course, you know, they might be able to get it if they absolutely hooked it up, but they just can't do it reliably there, and that's what's given us such a big advantage here, because Kampsa, I think, yeah, every single lap today is probably going to be flat out. We might not have done it quite flat lap 1, but yeah, the final couple of corners as well, just a blender throttle through that final turn. It is fantastic. I've never driven a car like this on F123. Maybe the new patch as well has done some background changes to things that I didn't even know it could, but yeah, Verstappen, though, just dropping back ever so slightly still. We're continuing to open up that gap by just a couple of tenths a lap or so. Tsunoda now past Russell as well. We need Lando Norris fighting, because, of course, 9 points in the Constructors. We want to take some points out of them there. So I think actually at the start of the race, and I was actually looking at Charles Leclerc rather than Lando Norris. I think he's battling Carlos Sainz for P5 at the moment, and is hopefully going to find a way around the Ferrari quite soon. They're both just trying to hang on to the coattails of George Russell at the moment, who has now lost the DRS to Tsunoda, who's actually slowly reeling in his teammate Max Verstappen here. But honestly, early on this season, it's kind of giving me F1 2006 vibes. For those of you that have sort of been fans of the sport for quite a long time now and know about the history, of course, you know, Alonso came in after winning 2005. Schumacher just could not beat him in the opening rounds of the season. Then Schumacher won like 3 in a row. Red Bull obviously won 5 in a row at the start of this season. You know, I know it's very, very early doors to be talking about it yet, but we then could be back on for 3 in a row as a team here. So kind of just that big shift of momentum. You know, one team will have a dominant spell, the other team will have a dominant spell. And it could lead to quite a dramatic title fight late on this season. Of course, you know, Verstappen, he desperately wants to get back on top. He knows how to drag a championship battle out in this game. Of course, has done back in Season 1 and Season 2. The only time Verstappen has gone into the final 2 races without a chance at the title was last season. Of course, Perez comfortably cleaning that one up with a few races to go before obviously stepping away from the sport Nico Rosberg style. But yeah, now the soft tyres definitely not quite providing the same grip as they once were, so Verstappen and Tsunoda are going to have to monitor that gap. But, yeah, we've got to try and get these to about lap 15. So that is a nice lock up at turn 1. You never guess there's an apex there, as Tsunoda actually moves past Max. That is quite interesting. That is not the line through the final corner. First proper slip up there. That's going to give Tsunoda a good few tenths. Come on, don't start losing it early on. Oh no, second warning. It's really not good early on. Got to keep it between the white lines. Or maybe the key for us today is if Verstappen and Tsunoda continue to battle it out. The Dutchman now moving back into P2. So I wonder if the team had just told Yuki to sit back, let Max do his thing and try and drag him along with him a bit. But yeah, Tsunoda seemed to be the faster of those Red Bull cars on more than one occasion this year. As we're getting pretty close to our pit-in lap. We're not going to box this time. We're going to go one more. There's Lando now up to P4, so he's done a pretty good recovery early. But will he have the pace to match the Red Bulls? Oh, yellow's out. One of the Williams going slowly. I think they've just gone for a bit of a pirouette. Yeah, safety car right now wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But I think everyone pretty much is going to be boxing the end of this lap. They've been able to get it going again though, so not going to make an ounce of difference. We've also got to make sure that we're very, very careful heading into the pit lane here. Such a difficult one because of the bump on the entry. So just trying to keep it clean and tidy through the final couple of corners. Oh, there's that bump. I actually find I'm much better off just going a little bit slower on the entry and then not worrying about it so much, as both Red Bulls then are going to hang out there for another lap. Looks like everyone on the set of mediums is just trying to extend the stint slightly longer, so we are going to be in a bit of traffic. The Grand Chelem is definitely not on here today either, as we actually lose a bit of time on pit exit being in the last stall. See, 2.3 second stop, but by the time the car's straightened up, you can't actually get off the limiter quick enough, so you lose a tiny bit of time there. That time around we did alright. Still inside the top 10 as Magnussen and Albon peel in behind me, so Albon's done a pretty good recovery actually. To be back where he is here, but we need to try and utilise this outlap as best as possible and close in on Drugovich and Leclerc. There we go, finally seeing some cars in then. Just Charles Leclerc that time around actually to blink. Yeah, we've already taken over 2 seconds out of Drugovich. See blue flags as well for our front runners, so might have to deal with some slow traffic towards the end of this one, but can we just try and make sure that we've definitely cemented fastest lap? We go for a bit of an outrageous lap on this set of mediums. We've got yellows out. Someone's got issues. Is that the other McLaren of Nick de Vries? Yes, it is. Who seems to be having a mechanical failure then, so don't be a safety car now. Otherwise, we'll be in a world of hurt this afternoon. Leclerc onto a set of the hards. I mean, it would be just my luck if we got a safety car here. The amount of bad luck we've had this season. Looks like we're going to get away with it for now. There we go. I think Tsunoda, actually the first one into the pit lane then out of the Red Bulls. Lando Norris in as well. So the AI able to go a fair old way on that set of the medium compound tyres. Drugovich peels in as well, which is good because I was going to lose some time behind him. 11.7 new fastest lap, as sensibly that probably should be a safety car, as no, it is Verstappen first into the pit lane then out of the Red Bulls. I think he just dropped back behind Yuki once again there, as we have pulled out a massive advantage from the extended undercut there. How big is the gap to Max Verstappen now? 10 seconds to the lead of this Grand Prix we go. He might have been held up a bit in traffic because Lando now is right behind him, so Yuki Tsunoda might have a chance here to overcut, which you don't see often inside F123. There we go, Gasly and Tsunoda, the former AlphaTauri duo, into the pit lane. I think many of us would have anticipated them to go the way they have in this series. An 11.1 new fastest lap of the day. That should be that locked up. But will Tsunoda get the jump then on Verstappen? I mean, Lando Norris closing in on them. Maybe he can still actually recover a decent result from today's running, as it looks like Yuki will be out comfortably in P2. So this does us a good job in the championship. Of course, with, you know, if Verstappen doesn't finish on the podium, that gap is immediately down to what, about 15 points there, which would be fantastic for us. That gap, you know, 50 points just a few Grand Prix ago. We really have found a good run of form in recent times, and Verstappen has definitely struggled. But yeah, Yuki 10 seconds back though. We've got 14 laps to go here, and to be honest, as much as I want to give you guys the content you deserve, I'm kind of hoping this one's a bit boring. We just want to try and dominate this thing. There we go. Norris has moved past Max Verstappen as well, so hopefully he'll be in hot pursuit of Yuki could do with another Audi 1-2 here. Really just proved to Red Bull that we mean business. So I think if things ended as they are, we would retake the lead of the constructors. Well, Fittipaldi must have been our spinner then early on, because he's a long, long way behind any other car here. But yeah, Lando now all over the back of Yuki Tsunoda, but he's done a good job of dragging Verstappen to him as well. As thank you very much to my former teammate Enzo Fittipaldi. Feels good to be lapping him, because whenever I think about Enzo in this series, I remember the incident between us two at Imola. But yeah, Lando Norris then trying to move up into P2 of the Grand Prix there. Tsunoda trying to hang on firm there, which I think he has done. So Tsunoda is not going to make this easy. Ooh, yellow's out. McLaren now has gone round in this GP. That, of course, must be Felipe Drugovich, who'd been doing so well early on today. But with Nick de Vries out of the Grand Prix, it's turned into a bit of a nightmare for McLaren then. He has got going. I mean, McLaren now are sat in some really weird no man's land, because they're much, much quicker than all the teams behind them, but they're still not usually quick enough to battle anyone in front. Maybe Alpine, if they have a bad weekend. As Norris does appear now has moved up to P2. So a fantastic job for the team if we can hang on to this. Come on then, Logan Sargent. Time to peel out the way. 6 laps to go of this race. And I'm kind of eyeing up how many of these back market cars we can try and lap late on in the afternoon. But we've navigated another one. Then obviously we've got Jack Doohan a little further up the road. I think the rest of them are going to be a bit too far away. Gap to Norris is coming down actually rather aggressively late on. But I am really just not pushing this thing towards the end of the day. I tell you what, late on in the day, these medium tyres actually feel like they've fallen off quicker than my soft tyres did, to be honest. Jack Doohan now will just move out of the way. Red Bull clearly aren't trying to get AlphaTauri to play any tricks for them. It actually looks like Fittipaldi has cost Max Verstappen a little bit of time there. He temporarily drops a little way behind Norris and Tsunoda, but 3.5 laps to go of the Grand Prix. Looks like those two are battling once again. We now have got pretty much a clear run to the flag. Aww. What a stupid way to do it as well. We have picked up a track limits penalty then this afternoon. I thought we were going to make it through scot-free, and that one, yeah, one of the weirder warnings I've ever had in F123. There actually took too much apex curb through a very slow and long corner, which you don't do very often. But 2 laps to go, and we are never, oh, only once I think inside F123 have we had a race like this, or we have felt so comfortable and in control. But it's the way Formula 1 goes sometimes. You know, we haven't had many races. You know, we've been so unlucky this season. It really does feel, since we returned to Europe, the luck has finally started going our way a little bit more. Monaco, not quite as much as I would have wanted. You know, probably the race we would have wanted to win out of these 3. But, you know, that's Formula 1 sometimes. You know, we'll take the points where we can. This season has got to all be about consistency. And anyway, though, heading on to the final lap of the Spanish Grand Prix. What can we say about this one? Dominant all weekend long. We should have gone fastest in all 3 qualifying sessions. Of course, lost out to Charles Leclerc in Q2, but making it through every session on just a single run there, similar to Sebastian Vettel back in Singapore all those years ago. I think 2013, wasn't it, in that all-conquering RB9. But yeah, come race day Sunday, we just kept the lead at the start. We've gone a bit more aggressive than the AI on the tyres. It's starting to cost me a little bit right towards the end of the day, but we have not really ever looked back here. It's been a very boring race, I'm sure, for some of you, and for that I do apologise. But with how much bad luck we've had early on this season, I think, to be honest, we deserved a race like this today. You know, the last win from the back of the field, this one right from the very front. But as we round our way through the final few corners here in Barcelona, 26 points on the board. The 3rd win in a row for Audi as well. Means Red Bull have 5, we have 4 wins to kickstart the year. And it's going to be another new venue to win at inside F123. Rounding the final corner, it is P1 here in Catalonia.
I'm so sore. Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friend. Well done.
Another Spanish Grand Prix is over, and what a special race it was. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Quite simply, a driver is nothing without the team behind them. So, a deserved winner, but we do have to give a shout out to the team in the pit lane and back at the factory. Very much a collaborative process.
Here comes your top three making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Well, that lead at the top has somewhat shrunk today. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Miss Monaco.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The owner-drivers team moved to the top of the table. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One, so be sure to join us for the next one.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Spanish Grand Prix, and it is going to be our second race victory of the season there. 3 seconds clear of Lando Norris come the checkered flag, but pole position, fastest lap, race victory. Doesn't get much better than that there, and a 1-2 for the team as well. Yeah, absolutely love to see it. Yuki Tsunoda, Verstappen in 3rd and 4th. Carlos Sainz best of the rest in P5, just edging out Oscar Piastri. Russell, Leclerc, Gasly and Ocon will round out our top 10, and that means championship-wise, gap at the top of the table, down to 13 points between myself and Verstappen. We really have been brutally consistent so far, with probably the exception of Miami. So, if that had gone our way, we would probably be leading the championship at the moment. Seems like Aston Martin Alpine has been a bit of a break in the form there. Oscar Piastri getting ahead of Albon, who had a good recovery from last, back to P12, proving that you can overtake around this circuit. Lando Norris, a similar story there. And constructors-wise, yep, 8 points now, the gap to Red Bull behind us rather than in front, so we love to see that as well. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back tomorrow then when Formula One returns to Canada, a track that I've loved in recent years, but not a track that we've seen much success at. Will that change tomorrow? The momentum is certainly behind us. You guys do not want to miss it. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters that you can see currently on your screens. If you want to join them from as little as £1 a month, it would be massively appreciated and you help support my work. You also get access to weekly updates from myself with everything going on behind the scenes with the channel. But yeah, a massive thank you to the names you see on your screen, and we'll be back very soon with a brand new video.